Get your patience. We had a
Testing 1, 2, 3.
sounds fine on my end.
Okay, Jack, I got to figure it out. I would say go ahead. Let's start from the beginning. My apologies to everybody. Should be good now.
No worries. Thank you, Zach. And thank you, everybody in our audience tonight. As you probably understand, technology can be a challenge sometimes these days, and we had one of those challenges. So thank you for your patience. We'll get going here. My name is Jack Mousseau with RTA MOA. We are the architects for the 3 schools we're going to share with you tonight. So I will be presenting the designs for all 3. My partner, Brian Calhoun, will be on the chat feature of your Vimeo feed. And if you have questions, comments, etc., Brian will be available to answer or listen to any of those. So please reach out to Brian. We will also stick around at the end if you have questions that you want to follow up with at the end with us tonight, or if you want us to go back to a particular image, just text that out to Brian and we'll accommodate your wishes. So just very briefly, remember our audience tonight does, in all likelihood, have adults as well as K-12 children who are either attending or may attend these schools. So please respect that as you chat to us and make comments. We just ask that you keep them for the public realm. And then just very quickly, be open-minded, value other people's opinions, be nice, etc. We're all here for the education of our children, and just remember this is all about them. With that, we're going to jump into it. We're going to talk first about Sunset Park and Franklin School of Innovation, our 2 great elementary schools. We're going to go through some parameters and features related to their design, look at the sites, the floor plans, the exterior building designs, and the interior building designs. Following that, we will look at the new K-8 Expeditionary School and do the same thing. Look at the parameters and features of the buildings, look around the sites and site amenities, floor plans, exterior building design, and then take you through a tour of the interior. So to start with, if you aren't familiar with any of these schools, we just wanted to start you out with a map of the new district schools that are coming in this 2019 bond. The 3 we're going to talk about tonight, in addition to Centennial High School up here in the northern portion of the district, Franklin School of Innovations located here. The new K-8 Expeditionary School is right in this area. You may remember the old Heroes School. It is on that same site. East High School is over close to Franklin, and then Sunset Park Elementary on the southern portion of the district. So we're going to talk about 3 of those 5. So the first 2, again, Sunset Park Elementary and Franklin School of Innovation, both of these schools are funded through a combination of the district bond funding and an application that the district made to the Colorado Department of Education's Best Grant Funding Program. The district was very fortunate to receive grant funding from the state for both of these schools, which is what has allowed the district to provide brand new schools for both of these sites versus renovating them. Both of these designs do follow Colorado Department of Education Best Grant Agreements, protocols, and guidelines, and they are prototypes of each other. What that means is the designs of the schools you will recognize are very similar to each other, but there are some significant differences that we will walk through as well. Both of these schools are the same size. They're 55,603 square feet to be precise. That is larger than each of the existing schools. The existing Sunset is just under 50,000 square feet. The existing Franklin is just over 51. So we're getting about 4,000 to 5,000 additional square feet beyond what each of these schools has today, which is terrific. Each of these schools has a capacity for 451 students. There are 3 classrooms per grade level in grades K through 5 in both of these schools. Some of the features of these schools, a real focus on security, both in the layout and design of the schools, as well as security features, including cameras, detection, etc. Both of these schools have what we call a high-performance design approach. They are designed to be very energy efficient. We are using what's called a VRF, or variable refrigerant flow mechanical system. That results in significant energy savings as compared to systems that have been used in the past or you might be more familiar with. The other benefit of the VRF mechanical systems is we're combining that with outside fresh air to all of our classrooms and teaching spaces. So we're not recycling air in these schools. We're using brand new fresh air in all those classrooms. That's especially important today in our pandemic world, that we have safe environments for our students. We have enhanced mechanical filtration with these systems, so we can filter out smaller and more particulates out of the air. We're also using low VOC materials, so we don't have off-gassing in the buildings. Great daylighting in these buildings. You'll see in the exterior designs that we have clear stories over our learning areas, over the main entry, over our dining commons, which is our cafeteria space, our discovery center, which is our media center, and the library area of the building all get infused with great daylight. Efficient electric lighting. We are using LED lighting throughout. And in our SPED spaces, our special education spaces, those lights are actually color tunable. That's a great feature in SPED spaces that helps attune the light color and intensity to the specific needs that help those students be able to perform at their best. Acoustically, we have an enhanced acoustic performance within these schools, so we have great sound qualities. We won't have a lot of noise bouncing from one room into another. In fact, we'll have very little. So acoustical performance is important and very, very high level in this school. Educationally, some of the features, outside of each of our classroom learning spaces, we have a space that's called the Activity Commons, which gives the opportunity for students and teachers to break out of their classrooms and use a larger area, or to have small groups break out of their classrooms. We'll share what that looks like. Many of our classrooms have garage doors that open up to that Activity Commons and allow that expansion to occur very easily. Each grade level has its own learning pod. We'll walk you through what those look like. And in addition to our classroom spaces, we also have art, music. Our Discovery Commons and project area is also acting as a library, but it has so much more going on in it. We have small group working spaces. We have special education. We have a gymnasium with a stage, and we have a dining commons that's also a very flexible space for before and after school functions. So let's look at our site plans for Sunset Park and Franklin. You may recognize this as Sunset Park today. Our school takes approximately half the site. So we didn't have a lot of options for where we could put this new building, but we'll share how it fits, and it actually fits very comfortably. Once the new building is up and beginning to be used, we will demolish the existing building. In fact, we are going to do what we call a selective demolition starting next month on both Sunset Park and Franklin School of Innovation. That selective demolition will take 4 classrooms off of the existing buildings, and that will enable us to easily better fit the new buildings on the site and make sure that we have a safe distance between our new buildings and the operational existing building. That safety aspect during construction is extremely important to us, and we've been working with the school district and our general contractor to ensure that we have a very safe program of construction that will ensure that we're separate from students. Franklin School of Innovation, you can see here as it is today. You can probably guess where the new school is going to go, on the big grass field. Where the existing building is, as you will see, will be taken up by field. So the site is basically a flip, but we will share what that looks like. So as I talked about in some of the features of the buildings, Sunset Park and Franklin are what we call prototypes. So they are essentially the same school, but each of the schools is a mirror of the other one. So as you can see, it's opposite. So Sunset Park, our main entry faces to the south, as well as does Franklin School of Innovation, but they are flipped to each other. Let's zoom in now to Sunset Park. You can see We have our main entry and our entry drive coming in off the south, off of University Circle. So this is our parent drop-off loop. We get a really long curb for drop-off. We know the concerns that the neighbors and the school have currently with cars backing up onto University Circle. So we really wanted to make sure we had a very long drop-off loop so we can get a lot of vehicles on site and off of University Circle. Our main entry to the school is right here on the south side. We get great daylight and visibility to that main entry. And then the building, as you can kind of see, has fingers that kind of come out. These are our classroom pods. And when we get into our floor plans, I'll describe what each of those is. Our gymnasium is here on the west side of the school, and you can see the gymnasium is surrounded by several of our playgrounds, our secondary and primary playgrounds. We also have hard court surface areas for basketball, for foursquare, etc. over here. And then direct connection to our play fields, our grassed areas. So those kiddos can come out, play kickball, chase each other around, etc. We also have a small playground over here. This is our kindergarten playground. It's right next to our kindergarten classrooms. So those kiddos can come right out of their learning pod right to that playground area. That kindergarten pod is also very close to our drop-off curb. So those parents that have kindergarten kiddos can easily pick them up. It's a matter of about 20 feet from the door into their pod to that drop-off curb or pickup curb. You can also park here and walk across and either drop your kiddo off or pick them up as well. We do have a traffic lane on the back of the school. What that actually is our fire lane. It will only be accessible by fire department vehicles or emergency responders. It is not a public road. It is not a parent drop-off or curb. We do have our loading area for our services and kitchen, trash removal, etc. on the back of the school up here on the north end as well. One other feature of this school is between the pods, we have what we call outdoor learning areas. So each of our grade level pods can come directly out into these small courtyard spaces, and those are set up so teachers can take their students out there. They can do outdoor instruction. They can work with the students out there. They can partake in the landscaped areas and incorporate that into instructional programs as well. And then we have the nice separation of green space from some of our residences. There's particularly a residential home right up here on the north east corner. So we have a nice buffer so that we're not right on top of those neighbors. Let's look at Franklin for just a minute. As I said, Franklin's a prototype and a flip, so many of the same features, or actually all of the same features, are here at Franklin. They're just arranged a little differently. As you can see off of Horseshoe Drive, we have a very similar parent drop-off curb, about the same length of curb for vehicles to stack, and then parking interior to that. Similar to Sunset, our entry is on the south side. So again, we get great daylight coming into the entry and great visibility all the way back to Horseshoe Drive. The same playground features. We have our secondary and primary playgrounds, as well as our asphalt play pad area over by the gym. We have a great play field area here. And then we have our kindergarten playground area here. We also have those same outdoor classroom features that go around our classroom pod environment. So that works great for us. And then our service is back here off of Yorktown. So both of these schools fit very well on the sites. We get great outdoor areas, green space around the schools, and then great playgrounds and play areas for the kiddos. We have actually for both of these schools very limited bus traffic coming to them. I think we have 2 to 3 buses for each, plus a sped bus. That sped bus will use the parent drop-off curb and can actually drop off or pick up those students directly across from the sped classroom area, and I'll show that on the floor plans. Buses on Franklin will drop off or load students off of Horseshoe Drive. I'll just jump back to Sunset here real quick. That would happen over here off of University Circle. So there will be a signed and dedicated location for those buses off of those two locations. Let's look into the floor plans. And to do that, I'm going to first start with Sunset. And please, we didn't pick anything. In fact, it was a coin flip on which went first. So we're going to start with Sunset. I'm going to first start with just kind of a very general broad overview. And then on the next few slides, I'm going to kind of zoom into different areas because it is a little difficult at this scale to see the detail in these spaces. But the main entry right here, again, on the south side of the school, to the left of the main entry is all our administrative offices. And then directly in front of the main entry, you would enter our dining commons. So that is where students have all their meals. They can also go outside on this side of the school, and there's a nice courtyard out in that area. They can eat outside as well. To the left of the dining commons, we've got our gymnasium right in here. Off of the gymnasium, there's a great stage, platform, and music. And then the rest of the gray area in here are some of our support functions like restrooms, kitchen, etc. To the right-hand side of our main entry and commons are all of our academic and academic support areas. So you would come down this circulation spine, and our SPED classrooms are here. Our fifth grade learning studio, learning pod is right up in here. And there's a great flex classroom here. That flex classroom can open up to the dining commons. So if we have a science fair, it can expand into that space. If we have a grade level that needs an additional classroom on a particular year, they can use it as well. Moving to the kind of the center or heart of the school, our discovery and media and project area. That's, some may refer to that as a library, but it does so much more for us in this school. Sits right in the middle. Art is opposite of that. Our third and fourth grade learning pod is here, first and second here, and our kindergarten kiddos are down here. So let's zoom in a little bit on the west side of Sunset. So as I said, our admin area is all here. We've got a very secure entry sequence coming into the building in which you would come in the outer doors. There's a transaction window here. So you would interface with the receptionist. They would allow you or buzz you in through this second set of doors. Then you can be across the counter from the receptionist or office staff and interact with them. And then once you're authorized to proceed into the school, you would go through a third set of doors. So anybody coming into our school during the day has to actually go through those 3 steps to get into the first area of the school. So that's one feature of making this a very safe and secure learning environment for our kiddos. So our staff area has lots of offices, a wellness center for our health and our nursing functions. And then, as I said, our dining commons is directly online with our main entry. So you get a great view actually all the way through the outdoors on the opposite side of our dining commons. So we can get all of our kiddos in here over in, I think, 3 serving periods for lunch off of the kitchen. And then coming down our circulation spine here, that ends at our gymnasium. So there's an entry into our gym here and access out to our play areas and playgrounds from here. So you could actually, gym teachers can bring those kiddos straight out right into those outdoor play areas. We do have a great stage platform that opens up to the gym, so that gym can become an audience performance area. It is raised above the gym, so we get better sight lines. It's easier to see those kiddos performing for you. There's an operable wall here and one here that allows us to utilize that stage area for instructional activities during the day. It doesn't have to always be open to the gym. And then the second operable wall here between that stage and the music allows the stage to be bigger or allows music to be bigger. So we've got great flexible features like that in these schools so that the teachers and staff and students can really create the spaces that best function for the instruction that may be happening at any particular time. Moving over to our academic areas, So we're coming in the main entry and now going to the right down our circulation spine. The SPED area, we've got 2 great classrooms here with what we call a kitchenette or a SPED area between them. That's a great opportunity to help teach some of these kiddos life skills within that kitchenette under adult supervision. We've got private restrooms for both of those classrooms. Obviously, everything in this area is designed and attuned for those special needs. I mentioned the lighting earlier, a lot of other features that really help those kiddos out. Going up to the north, this is our 5th grade learning pod. And you can see that activity commons that I described as a feature right here. And we'll show you some interior visualizations of what that space looks like here in just a minute. But that's a great breakout opportunity for all these teachers and students to come out, use a larger area if they need to have 2 grade or 2 classes collaborate, or have small groups of students come out and do individual project work. Our art classroom is right here, has great exterior access as well, so they can break out and use some outdoor space for projects. They also have a couple of garage doors. What we wanted to do is have the ability for art and the media discovery and project area to collaborate and use more space if they need to for those great projects. Our 3rd and 4th grade pod here. So as I said, each grade level has 3 classrooms. So 1, 2, 3 for 3rd, 1, 2, 3 for 4th. Our activity commons in the middle that opens up. That's the area that we get great daylight down into. I'll show you what that looks like from the exterior in just a minute. And then we've got support functions for restrooms for kiddos, restrooms for teachers, conferencing spaces, etc. Moving down a little bit, we get to our grade 1 and 2 pod here. That's just off of this end of the Discovery and Media Center. So again, grades 1 and 2 are housed together in this pod, and then our kindergarten kiddos right here. And you can see, if you remember on the site plan, our drop-off curve came right through this area. So those kiddos can be dropped off, they can come right in, or a parent can walk them from the parking area right into this pod as well. Franklin School of Innovation, I'm just going to focus on the overall plan on Franklin, and I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but the blow-up plans are identical to Sunset. You're getting every feature and every nuance, every space that Sunset's getting. You're just getting it in an opposite direction. So as you can see here, our gymnasium and music and platform areas and admin are on the right rather than the left, and then all of our classroom pods focus towards the left-hand side of the page. Let's look at the exterior design. So what I'm going to share with you first is a fly-around video. So you can see we're kind of zooming in here to Sunset Park, going around. This would be our kindergarten pod here. 1st and 2nd grade here. You can see some of those raised roof elements. That's where we're getting some of that great natural light into our activity commons, into our discovery center, into our dining commons and main entry. Coming around, that's our gymnasium. It's got some great natural light up high. So we get good diffused light in there. We're going to come around past the parking, and this is us walking now up to the building. So we're being bad, not being on the sidewalks, walking across the grass like kids usually do. Walking up towards our main entry. So we just passed on our right-hand side the kindergarten classroom pod. Coming up, so there's some great outdoor seating opportunities, some nice landscaping. You can see our main entry has a nice tall feature to it, but a nice lower canopy, so the scale for those kiddos feels right. On our left here is our Discovery Center. Now we're going to kind of fly back around and look at some of those outdoor learning pods. So we're coming back to the outdoor pod between our 1st and 2nd grade and our 3rd and 4th grade. So either one of those grade levels can come into this space outside. There's some great seating elements, planter walls and things like that teachers and students can use for instruction. So that's a little fly around Sunset. these are a few still images that are a little higher resolution of Sunset Park. So you can see that main entry. To the left of the main entry, the smaller windows, those are all of our administrative offices. And then the windows here with the horizontal striping here, that is into our SPED classroom. So we get great daylight into those. You can see the raised element at our main entry. So we're getting some of that clear story lighting into the main entry and all the way down into our dining commons as well. Another view of Sunset Park. So the administrative offices are here in the foreground. Our main entry is right in the middle. Our Discovery Media Center is down at the end. So you can see that very large glass window. We're going to get great daylight coming into that. And there are doors that students and staff can come out of that media project area and use an outdoor project space as well. Just a little closer view of that on Sunset Park. This is if we just turn to the right, we're looking at the kindergarten classroom pod. Our other grade level pods are very similar to this with the roof design, that great opportunity for daylight through those clear story windows, etc. But this is a nice one because it's right next to our main entry, so it's really a nice feature to the building. This is one of those outdoor learning areas, so kiddos can come out here. Just behind us, there's kind of a classroom-shaped wall, so they can use that. They can use these planter elements as seating. So lots of opportunities for students and kiddos to come out here, or kiddos and teachers to come out here and use these outdoor spaces very close to their classrooms, so you're not losing track of kiddos as you're coming out here. Now we're going to fly you around Franklin School of Innovation, give it equal time. So I'm going to push the button. We're flying down towards the main entry of Franklin. So again, very similar parent drop-off arrangement and parking arrangement. We're coming around this time towards the gymnasium first and our outdoor playgrounds, play areas, and then coming on the north side of the school. So that would be our dining commons over here. And we're coming around to our 5th grade, 3rd and 4th grade here, 1st and 2nd grade in the foreground now, and then our kindergarten kiddos right here. So again, very close proximity to that drop-off curb. You can see again, we've got those raised clear stories bouncing around the building. So we're getting great daylight coming into all of those learning areas, as well as again, the main entry, the dining commons, and the Discovery Center. Here we're coming up towards our main entry. Off to the left was our Discovery Center, our library space. So again, you'll recognize a lot of the same features from Sunset. But as we get into some of the more refined still images, you'll recognize that some of the colors are different. Some of the patterns are different. So we are looking at making each building unique, not only because it's flipped, but because the selection of colors and materials on the exterior of the building is slightly different at each one as well. So here you can see, as you would be in your vehicle driving up to the front entry of Franklin School of Innovation, what that looks like. You can see that great kind of bi-level main entry. Our Discovery Media Center is this sloped roof in the background, and then our kindergarten pod right here on the left-hand side. Kind of zooming into that gives you a little better look. Another angle of it, so you're kind of looking back from the drop-off curb. The underside of our soffits in these areas is actually a metal panel, but it has a wood finish to it, embossed on the metal, so it really helps warm up those entries, make them a really pleasant space to be around. You can see some of the natural vegetation, so really nice plantings, rock features, etc., right at our front doors. This is looking at that kindergarten pod. So again, you can see the drop-off curve there, the entry into kindergarten, very, very close proximity, and a really nice feature right along the face of the front of the building. And then this is another view of an outdoor learning environment at Franklin. You can see some of the seat elements we've incorporated into these planters. So teachers really have a space set up to bring a class out, put them in that learning area, have an outdoor lesson or instruction, and really have it function well for them. Now I'm going to take you through a video that represents actually both schools, Sunset Park and Franklin. The selection of colors for both of these schools will be different. So understand that the colors you are seeing in the video may be different in one school versus, or will be different in one school versus the other, so that each has its own unique character and unique feel. So this is that lobby space before you're through the second set of doors where you face that transaction window. The receptionist has now said, "You're a good person. You can come into our school." This is our reception area then. So you can see it's really open and bright and great daylight coming in and very, very welcoming. Great colors that'll be specific to each school. Once then you've shown that you've got business and you're authorized to go into the school, that's our dining commons off to the left. And we'll come back into that space, so don't worry if you didn't get quite enough time to see it. We're going to go down towards our gymnasium, so we're going down this circulation spine. We've got some restrooms there. Our music and performance stage we just passed, and we're going to come back and kind of look at that a little bit from the gym. And we're going to go through these doors into our gymnasium, so you can see how bright and daylit it is. Those will be actually translucent windows because we don't want direct sun coming into a gym, but we want great daylight. That's our stage and our performing area. You can see how that opens up and really creates a great audience and performance environment. Now we're coming back into our dining commons. You can see some of the great acoustical panels, bring some color, some real playful features up in the ceilings to help bring some scale down, and a lot of daylight. You can see that upper daylight along our dining commons all the way along that east wall. Now we're going down to our academic areas. You can see the playful features in our floor colors and floor material selections. This takes you into one of our learning pods. They're all very similar in terms of the features. You can see great daylight coming into these. Those big panels down on the translucent panels, those are our garage doors. They are translucent, so you can't see through them. So we don't want interruptions to the class, but you can get great daylight. Those can open right up. We're just passing art on our left and our Discovery Center on our right. You can see how those two spaces could really interact. And what we just passed is one of the entry features into our grade level pods. So we really are working to identify, both with color and shape, the entry into these grade level pods. And then this is looking back towards our Discovery Center. You can see some ceiling features that are really nice in here, great color, and then part of that space is 2 stories as well. So hopefully that gives you a real exciting look at the interior of both of these schools. Again, they'll both be similar in layout, but the selection of colors in each of the schools will be different. This just walks you through a few still images, so I can pause just a little bit longer on some of these. This is at that main reception area. So you've come through our first 2 sets of doors. You've are in this great daylit space. We've got just kind of this lattice canopy above you that helps bring the scale down, but we've got those great clear story windows above that really allows the light to filter in and kind of dapple this space. And then you can see through those doors into the dining commons beyond. This is that Discovery Center space. This is the portion of it that's 2 stories, so you can see those great clear story windows up high, and then some of our ceiling features that are both playful but also bring that scale down to the level of these kiddos in these schools. Another view of that Discovery Center space. The 2 kind of translucent squares you can see in the background, those are the garage doors to the art classroom. So those can be open or closed depending on the needs and the programs that the teachers have going. This is one of our learning pods. So this is in the activity commons portion. So again, these are those garage doors. So each classroom could open that up. If a teacher wants to have a small group of students come out here and study or work or do project work, separate from the other students. They can do that, or 2 grades, 2 classrooms opposite each other could both open up those garage doors and start to collaborate, bring those kiddos together and collaborate on larger projects. Another view, this is with the garage doors open in this view. And then the interior of one of our classrooms, our ceiling heights are about 9'6". Don't hold me to that precisely. I think we're still dialing that in, but nice tall ceilings, big windows, really flexible furniture, as you can see. Everything's on wheels, so it can move around. Easy to reconfigure these tables. These are great 21st century learning environments with a lot of flexibility and a lot of opportunity. With that, we're going to transition and share with you the new K-8 Expeditionary School. This is a really exciting one because this was not a project that was anticipated at the time that the bond was voted on in Pueblo back in 2019. But due to just the great performance of school districts, financial staff, and personnel, and the school board, etc., the district has been able to find enough savings within the bond. We were fortunate, especially with the high schools and some of our other projects, that we bid those projects at a really great time. They came in less costly than we expected, and we were able to actually pull together enough funds to build a completely new school. So that is the K-8 Expeditionary School in your school district. This project, as I said, is entirely funded through District 60 bond funding, so there are no matching state funds on this project. This project, one of the reasons the district was able to afford this new building was we developed it off of the elementary school. So you will see many of the same features, many of the same floor plan elements of the elementary schools, and that saved both design dollars and design time as we move forward with this school. This school also has the feature of the existing gymnasium from the Hero School was not demolished, and we're going to actually reuse that as an auxiliary gym on this site. So we'll show you what that looks like. This new building is just over or just under 73,873 square feet. It's a little bigger than our elementaries. They were 55,600, if you remember. And then this school can accommodate 675 students in our K-8 grades. Similar to our elementary schools, there are 3 classrooms per grade level in this school. Many of the same features of our elementary schools, so I'm not going to focus on those so much as I am some of the educational features. This K-8 school really has some great opportunities for expeditionary learning and the support of expeditionary learning. What expeditionary learning is an opportunity for students to really become immersed in projects and really kind of explore certain subject matters, not just through books, but through projects as well. And those projects need space and the appropriate spaces for them to be able to really flourish. So we've got what we call a career and technical education lab. That's a lab space that has great equipment for robotics, for projects that the students can build and tear apart, and etc. We've got a second great projects lab, so we've spread those around a little bit. We've got 2 science labs in this school, as well as art, music, discovery commons, and project area like we had in our elementary, small group spaces, our special education space gym. We have that extra auxiliary gym here. And then similar to our elementary schools, a stage and dining commons. So let's first look at the site plan for this school. You may recognize this. This is an aerial photo back when the Heroes School was still there. It is since demolished, so you may recognize a lot more green space on this site now. And then there's an existing track and field here with a football practice field in the middle. That's going to stay. We're going to continue to utilize that. But the rest of the site up in here, we are going to develop as part of the new K-8 Expeditionary School. Just to remind you, that school sits right here in the Pueblo community on the old site of the Hero School. And then you can see here how that new school fits onto the site. You probably recognize the shape of this school a little bit from the elementary schools. It's very familiar. The auxiliary gym is here. That's that existing building. And then that track and field here on the south. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Coming into the school, the main entry drive is here off of 20th. Comes in, and there's a great parrot drop-off loop here. But because we've got more kiddos at this school, we did spread vehicular movements and those drop-off activities around a bit more at this site than we did at our elementary schools. So we do have a drop-off curb here, some dedicated parking and staff parking, visitor parking here to the south. We also have parking on this side of the school off of Masonic Cemetery Road. There is a parent drop-off loop here as well. There's a bus drop-off area zone right here. And then this area is actually our kindergarten parent drop-off and pickup curb. And our kindergarten classrooms on this school are in a little different location. They're right here on the opposite side of the school from the main entry. So our main entry is right here, directly off that drop-off, facing south. We get great daylight again coming in, filtering and infiltrating that entry area. Our gymnasium for the new school is right here, which is just opposite that auxiliary gym, so it's very easy to go back and forth. Our grades 1 and 3 and 3 and 5 playgrounds are here. Our kindergarten kiddos are up here with their playground. And we've got a great asphalt play area here. There's a lot of existing asphalt play area at this school site, so we're going to just seal and repurpose that and continue to use it as outdoor play area, play courts. There's a nice shade shelter right here. We're going to keep that and utilize that as part of the school. So part of the benefits of this site, a lot of the components that we would need at a K-8 school are already there. That track and field and football practice field, soccer, etc., the outdoor existing asphalt areas, that existing auxiliary gym, all of these features, we don't have to spend any or very, very little money to make those functional and usable with this school. So that's saved us a lot of money on this project as well. Let's look at the floor plan here of our K-8. And again, you'll probably recognize a lot of this. It's organized very similarly to our elementary schools, but we have moved a few things around. Our main entry here on the south with our admin right next to it. Our dining commons straight on from that main entry. It's a little larger because we have a larger student population. So we've expanded that a bit. Our music and stage are in the same location as our elementary school. So that stage platform opens up to the gym, but our gym is larger here. I think our court is 74 feet by 50. So a nice size court in here with some bleachers. And then access to that auxiliary gym can either come through these doors, and that auxiliary gym sits right about here. So it's very easy to access from this part of the school. On the opposite side, you may recall in our elementary school, we had our SPED program here. On our K-8, we actually put our SPED program right up in here. Gives it a little more separation and a little more distance from our main entry, but very easy to access. Our SPED suite is accessed off of this main corridor. So it is very inclusive to the rest of the school. It was important to us that the SPED program not be isolated, that it not be separated from the rest of the grade levels and made to feel, different. We want to be very, very inclusive with those SPED kiddos. Our kindergarten pod and learning areas are right up in here. And again, with that activity commons, you can come right out to that playground right up here. So they're entered through these doors. SPED is entered through here. Our Discovery and Media Center is right at the heart of the school, similar to our elementary. There's a great outdoor project plaza area right here that can be used by the Media Discovery Center, as well as our CTE lab. So that's the space right here I described. So that's a great project area. It's very close to our 7th and 8th graders who predominantly will use that space. So they have great access to it as well as projects outside. We've got a great science lab here for 7th and 8th graders in their pod. And then our 1st and 2nd graders are right up in here. And you may be wondering, why did we put 1st and 2nd graders down on the ground floor along with 7th and 8th? It was important to the school district to have really good supervision of those 7th and 8th graders. On the ground floor, we get much better supervision. They're a little easier to observe and make sure that they're doing the things they should be doing. We can isolate through doors here and doors here, those grade level pods. We don't anticipate, throughout the day, a lot of intermixing. They may pass each other on the way to the dining commons and things like that, but they really have their own communities within the school. So that we feel will work very well. And on the upper floor, our grade 5 and 6 are stacked on top of our 7th and 8th graders. So there's more collaboration amongst those grade levels. They can very easily go up and down the stairs right here in the activity commons and collaborate, do work together, etc. Our 5th and 6th graders up here on the 2nd floor also have a science classroom. And then our 3rd and 4th graders are right here. And both of those, as well as our students on the lower level, have access to this project activity studio right here. So this is a great space for those hands-on projects, those messy projects. Those students can come and utilize that space. Teachers can utilize that space as well. We have a great learning stair right here. What a learning stair is a very wide, both circulation, but also almost an auditorium-like seating space. The teachers can have an entire class gather on that learning stair. I'll show you what an image of it in just a minute. They can do instruction. Students can do presentations there. It can be a social space when students want to hang out. So it's really a great feature within this school, and we anticipate will be very, very highly utilized. I'm going to show you another video now of the exterior of the K-8 Expeditionary School. So this will fly you around it. So you can see a little bit different. We've got a 2-story component on this school. Main entry here on the south. We're going around the gym. The gym's a little bigger, but you can also see the auxiliary gym here. Here is our outdoor dining commons area. So you can see, again, a very similar roof feature over that main entry and dining commons. But because we're 2 stories and we are respecting this residential neighborhood and its height and scale, we don't have those roof features over the top of our 2nd floor. But we are getting great daylight through our windows and through all of our glazed areas on this building. Now we're coming down towards our main entry. On the right-hand side, you can see some 2-story windows into our Media and Discovery Center. Now we're swinging around from the main entry. I apologize for the tree. I hope that didn't hit you. We're going to look at the main entry, the admin, and kind of come back up and look at that 2-story area of the school. So it's really a beautiful school. Again, it will be designed and built with a different palette of colors than our elementary schools. So it has that unique character and unique feel to this expeditionary K-8 school. And then I'll share some more refined exterior renderings of you. You can get a little better look. A great pod of birds flying off of the roof of the building over here. But you can see that main entry, some of those same kind of landscape elements at the front of the school and opportunities for seat walls and things like that. You can see our great Discovery Center here. Right here is our CTE lab. So you can come out and use that project area that's right in this area as well. This is close to the drop-off curve as you're coming around to the front of the school. So you can see a lot of the kind of playfulness of this school, both in terms of color and roof forms. This is one of those outdoor learning spaces. So we'll have outdoor learning opportunities just like those elementary student kiddos. And then I'll share a few images of the interior of the K-8. It is a couple months behind the design of the elementary schools. We're spacing these schools out a little bit. So these images aren't as refined or colored as the elementary school images, but I bet you can kind of imagine some of those colors and features from the images I shared earlier. This is that learning stair in the Discovery Commons. So you can imagine a classroom full of kiddos lined up on this. Feels much like a small auditorium. So a great place for engagement with teachers, for instruction, for a presentation by some of our older kiddos, maybe a performance, and just a great social hangout space as well. This is our gymnasium, so similar to our elementary schools. There's great daylight up high coming into this space, great acoustics. The stage and performance area opens up to the gym, so we can have a great performance in here, put chairs in here, and get a whole bunch of people watching those kids perform. This is that CTE classroom, Career and Technical Education. So this is that project-based exploratory area. Our students can come in here, get messy, build things, tear things apart. There'll be lots of support tools and infrastructure. The things on the ceiling are power reels. So if you need power, you can just pull it down and connect to it. There's a great garage door here. Open that up, and there's that outdoor plaza for projects for both this space and the Discovery Center. Center. And because this is 2 stories, you can see the little kiddo up here. That's up in our second level. You can look down into this space, see what these students are doing, get excited about the opportunities you may have next year if you can take one of those classes. And this is another view in that CTE lab as well. So with that, we're just about done. I'm just going to talk about next steps and where we are in the process with these schools. Our elementary schools will finish their design work in December of this year, so coming up very soon. My people are back working really hard, as well as Brian's. And then the K-8 school, we will complete its design just a little later in February of next year. The partial demolition of those 2 elementary schools that classrooms at each site, so pretty small partial demolition. That will happen next month in November. That very safe manner. That's been very well planned by our contractors to ensure that that those kiddos are safe and that all of those activities are very separated from our kiddos. We're going to start construction schools in March of next year and our K-8 in May of next year. And then both of those schools, as well as our 2 great high schools in Pueblo School District 60, are all scheduled to be open in the fall of 2023. So it's going to be a very exciting fall with the opening of 5 brand new schools in your school district. That's almost unprecedented. Once those schools open, we're going to complete the demolition of the 2 elementary schools and complete the site work in the summer and fall of 2023. So with that, I thank you all for your participation and attendance. I hope you've been peppering. There is a particular image you want me to go back to, just text Brian. He'll let me know, and I'll jump back to that slide. But thank you again. We're really excited to share this with you, and hope that you're excited with the opportunities that your kids and your community has with these great coming online. So thank you very much.